מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. Let's do that again. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And Merry Christmas. Christmas is one of my favorite holidays, actually, in America. It is so warm and happy and full of light, and I have always appreciated being Christmas adjacent, that I have the privilege of being near to Christmas as a person who doesn't celebrate, but who gets to appreciate. And so I'm always happy when this time of year comes around and I get to be in the light and in the warmth and in the delicious that comes with this season. And so I hope that you are also starting off this Shabbat with light and warmth and maybe something delicious a little bit later. I'm Rabbi Hyatt. This is Steve Brodsky. We're excited to be with you this evening to pray. Quick reminders. Thank you, especially now more than ever, for keeping your masks on, for keeping them over your nose and your mouth at all times so that we can continue to gather together and pray and keep everyone safe. We so appreciate it. I have no idea which camera to tell everybody to turn around and look at and wave, but find a camera up there, maybe that one.
With
I
the
don't
red
know.
light on
Wave at a camera and say
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom to all of you who are at home and who are with us this evening from wherever you may be. We're so glad that you're here to celebrate Shabbat with us. And with that, we bring light into this space as well, our own light, but not a different light necessarily. It is dark. Tuesday was the darkest, shortest day of the year. And so, of course, what a beautiful thing to get to do, to bring our own light into this Shabbat and into the world.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. Join with me. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted.
On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation.
There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others.
On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal.
So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace.
I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth, a new song unto God. Shiru Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru Adonai shir chadash. I will sing a new song unto God.
And as always, it is with great intention and love and anticipation that we welcome Shabbat into this space and into our week and into our lives. And so we say Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, and we welcome our beloved Shabbat into this chapel.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat. Nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela, let's sing that again. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala Shabbat nekabela.
Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmianu el hamiuchad.
Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shemu tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi Likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor ha'bracha. Merosh mikadam nesucha, sof במעשה, במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise as we are able and turn to face the entrance to our chapel to welcome the Shabbat bride. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We remain standing for the Baruch.
This is a new melody that we introduced last week, so we will continue to get used to it. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai. Let's sing that one more time. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai.
Let's read responsively. Let me dance in the sky with prayers and blessings for the one I love, raising these hopes to the gates of heaven. Together.
Let me sing among the stars with mystery and magic for the holiness around us, raising these dreams to the gates of redemption.
For there is music in the dawn and blessings at dusk, a radiance of glory carrying our voices beyond the firmament to the one who created all being.
Source and shelter, you set the course of sun and moon, bringing on the evening twilight, calling forth time and space with majesty and wonder.
Blessed are you, soul of the universe, summoning the heavens, declaring the reign of holiness. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love.
Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are the life. They are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem kivod malchuto leolam vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
You may be seated.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam Beshivtecha beveitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kidoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
The Israelites walked into the Reed Sea 1 foot at a time. What were they thinking about as the water rose up their legs, chilling their hearts, advancing toward their open mouths?
We continue to walk here, now, 1 foot at a time, on our better days forward.
Alone, I cannot reach the far shore without drowning. Somehow, I don't go under. The person to my right holds me up. Something I cannot see holds him up.
Blessed is the source of help, so often unexpected.
I step forward, the sea is vast.
Blessed are you, gracious one, for your miracles that greet us every day. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha Nedar b'kodesh Norah tehilot Osef eleh Norah tehilot Osef eleh Malchutecha ra'u vanecha Bokei hayam Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze Eli Anu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha Nedar b'kodesh Norah tehilot Osef eleh Norah tehilot Osef eleh Yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la 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 yalai la la la.
Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up our guardian to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel for your name's sake. Be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim l'chaim ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim l'chaim. May you shelter us in peace until the morning comes. May you lay us down with love, and may you raise us up. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim l'chaim.
There is a chain of both unimaginable delicacy and infinite strength, bound 13 times from head to heart to hands to you. It stretches back further than time until it reaches those who first cried out your name. I see them in the mirror. I hear their voices in the night, feel their joy, and taste what they found bitter as if it were iron on my tongue. Together, we are whole. Together, we remember. And so, we sing your praises. We rise as we are able for the tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach Tehilatecha. Open up my lips and let my mouth declare your praises. Adonai sifatai tivta ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tivta ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai.
For Moses' actual mom, Yocheved, to be able to continue nursing him until he's done growing into a toddler, and then he goes to live in the palace. It's great. One day he comes out of the palace and he sees an Egyptian taskmaster beating a Hebrew slave, kills the taskmaster. All hell breaks loose, and he flees. This is the abbreviated version, the Cliff's Notes. He goes into the desert, he meets a lady, he marries her, there's some sheep that happen, and then all of a sudden Moses is in a cave. And there's a bush, and it's burning, and it's on fire, but it is not consumed. Eek. And then, essentially, Moses and God have a conversation. It's a long conversation. We'll come back to it in a second. Moses is convinced that he is supposed to go and free his people, and so he does. However, in the cave with the bush, there's this thing that happens that is... And God's response is like such a non-answer. It's a very parental answer, which is, I don't have an answer to that question, but I'll answer a different question for you so that you feel like I've answered the question. And what God says back to Moses is, don't worry, I'm going to be with you. I am going to be there, and it's going to be a sign that I sent you. And when you have freed the people from Egypt, it's going to be great. And so Moses has a second question. Will be what I will be. And our sages say this is a lesson about how we look at the world. It's a lesson about potential. And it's interesting, right? Because God says in this moment in the cave, I will be what I will be. And when we get the 10 Commandments in a couple of chapters, the first one, when God introduces God's self to the people, in the 10 Commandments, in that moment, says, I am the Lord your God that took you out of Egypt and freed you from slavery. Not, I am the Lord your God who, created the world and made you all of this stuff that you use, or that made a covenant with Noah, or that made a covenant with Abraham. Who am I? I am God that took you out of Egypt. But this is before that. And so God says, I will be what I will be. And it turns out this is exactly the same as this thing called positive psychology. What is positive psychology? It is the idea that people who have a positive outlook on life, who have a positive psychology, tend to be future-oriented, and people who have a negative mindset, which sometimes psychologists called learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. They are often fixated on the past. And so we have a choice. Do we look forward or do we look back? And how does that inform the rest of the decisions that we make? And if we think about the world, we have a future mindset all the time, right? I boil water because I want tea. I know that I cannot just, I could if I walked into a store, but I cannot just in my own house have tea. I have to make it. I have to boil the water. I have to put a tea bag in it. I have to go through steps and do things. And so I'm always doing things that are future oriented. That is how we function in the world. I'm going to study because I want to pass the test. I am going to do a thing because I want another thing to be true in the future. And I know that the first thing is a necessary ingredient to get to the second thing. But when God says, I will be what I will be, God is telling us something not only about God, but about us. That we remember that all the time we're doing these things that lead to more things. Because it's not hard to convince ourselves that we can indeed have hot water if we put it in a kettle and put it on the stove and turn the stove on. I don't have to convince myself of that. But it's kind of hard to convince myself that I can change, that I am not yet who I'm supposed to be. I'm not yet done becoming a person. And so here we are at the beginning of a new year, just about. In exactly 1 week, we are going to sit here, some of you, I don't know. We're going to celebrate Shabbat again. I'll be here. So if you want to come next week and get your New Year's Eve on with me, I would love that. We're going to be here, and it's going to be the final hours of a year that has been, in my tradition, we call it a dumpster fire. I'd like to share that with you. It's been a crazy year. It's been a full year of pandemic. And on one hand, we're really exhausted and we're tired of every part of it, not just the inconveniences and frustrations, of which there have been many and which are very real, but also the fear and the anxiety and the losses of connections and moments and opportunities, and the real losses of people who we have loved and who are not here because of this pandemic. And it's really, really, really hard not to stand at this moment a week away from the end of the year and look back at the causes for all of those losses and spread blame for where we are and the fact that we're still here. That's what happens in December if you read the news, right? It's the year in review. Look at all the pictures. Look at all the things that happen. The top 10 songs, the top 10 dark garbage dumpster fire moments, the top 10 things that happened in the last year. Our media is asking us to look back. But that's that negative mindset a little bit. That's that learned helplessness. If we stand here, we get to look back in review. But if we stand here and we only think about the past, then we are existing in a moment for which we have no ownership, because the past has already happened. We can't control everything, and we know that. But what if we didn't just stand here and look back at a year in review, but we, in fact, were in a cave, sheep not required, standing in front of a burning bush, and maybe instead of a bush, it's a 65-degree Christmas Eve, hard to say. But we're being given the opportunity to do something. Maybe it's not a request from God that we liberate a whole people or the whole world. Maybe it is. But here we stand, and if God called out to us from that bush this week, this last week of 2021, what do you think God would ask us? What do you think God would ask you? And maybe more importantly, what are you asking of yourself? Our tradition teaches us to ask. And what our Parsha teaches us is that the answer is Ehyeh asher ehyeh. I will be what I will be. You will be what you will be. We will be what we can be. And so, what will we choose to be? Perhaps the name, the identity with which we are going to be introduced when we change our lives or our families or a little corner of the world has not yet been written. When God said this, God had not yet freed the people. That was not something God owned as an identity yet, and it's what we remember God for now. So what do we still have to do? And maybe if we stop looking back and blaming and with frustration and anger and hurt and judgment, and we look forward with potential and power and ownership, then we can all be what we were meant to be this year and make it a little bit different than this last year. I hope so. Shabbat Shalom. And with that, I would like to call Francie to come on up. It's okay.
I think we're going to go for a low-tech solution to our problem,
Or not.
at least for a few moments.
Hard to
So if
say.
you'd like to join us in blessing the Torah before we read it, you can find the blessing on page 250 in the prayer book that's in the pocket in front of you. 250. That's the beginning. Okay, so now you have your choice. You can use the paper, you can use the screen, whatever's more comfortable for you. Let's join together. Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach, Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, venatan lanu et Torato, Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Just in time. Amen. Vayomer melech Mitzrayim Yeladot ha'ivriot asher shem ha'achat shifra v'shem ha'shenit pua. Vayomer vayeled hen et ha'ivriot Uriten al ha'anva'ayim im ben hu v'hamiten oto v'im bat hi v'achat. Batirena ham yeladot et ha'elohim v'lo asu ka'asher daber Alehen melech Mitzrayim, v'tachayena et hayeladim, v'yikra melech Mitzrayim, lam yeladot, v'yomer lahem madua asiten hadavar hazeh, v'tachayena et hayeladim, v'tomarnu, Ham yeladot el paro ki lo hanashim ha-mitzrayot ha-ivriot ki hayot alehem lam yeladot vayera ha'em ya'atzmu me'od.
Yasher koach.
Thank you.
Nicely done. Translate.
The king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, one of whom was named Shifra and the other Pua, saying, "When you deliver the Hebrew women, look at the birth stool. If it is a boy, kill him. If it is a girl, let her live." The midwives, fearing God, did not do as the king of Egypt had told them. They let the boys live. So the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and said to them, "Why have you done this thing, letting the boys live?" The midwives said to Pharaoh, "Because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women. They are vigorous. Before the midwife can come to them, they have given birth." And God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and increased greatly. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chaye olam nata betochenu. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Nicely done. Yasher koach. And we're going to take a moment before we put the Torah back in the ark. We are going to take a moment to say the Mishaberach prayer, our prayer for healing. And as always, if there are those in your lives, in addition to those that we read on our list, that you are thinking of on this Shabbat, prepare yourselves to say them out loud. It helps. It really does help to say those names out loud, to put them out into the world so that we can hold your loved ones with you.
Sheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
Today we are praying for Zachary Hoffman, David Karner, Stuart Myers, Jean Silber, Scott Englander, Stacy Hoffman, Phyllis Schulman, James Tepper, Alan Davidson, Donald Gross, Douglas Hamilton, Ira Levine, Richard Seedroff, David Freed, Leslie Rohde, Kara Smoley, Hollis Perala, Claude Zimmerman, Shanti Khazan, Alex Busnovetsky, Lori Goldman, Larry Ambrose, Laura Culver, Carol Weiner, Arnold Brodsky, Dana Huss, Frank Schneider, Jana Vishnitsky, Will Jared Skirpan and Liam James Skirpan, Peggy Lehman, Eileen Goldman-Auer, Braxton Reimer, Sylvia Scher, Rebecca Zuckerman, and Gary Patashnik. If there are others for whom you are saying the Misha Berach today, I invite you to say their names out loud. If you're home, type them in, say them out loud, hold them in your heart, and we hold them with you. We say, Baruch atah Adonai makor ha'refuah. Blessed are you, Adonai, the source of all healing.
Misheberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
We rise as we are able for the lifting and dressing of the Torah.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Yai lai 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 ya la lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai la lai lai la lai lai yai lai la lai lai la lai lai. Etz chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomcheha meushar deracheha darchei noam b'chol netivoteha shalom. Hashiveinu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh yameinu kekadem.
We remain remain standing for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
You may be seated. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. So we call into this space, into our minds and our hearts, the memories of those that we miss, those that we have lost in the last week. Morton Jerome Kraut, Charlie Schneider, Alan Fox, and Helen Spitzer. Those that we've lost in the last 30 days, Michael Berlin, Fern Baron, Eunice Teitel, Beverly Francis, Carmen Lichtenstein, and those that we have lost in years past for whom this Shabbat marks the anniversary of their death. Mary N. Ahrens, Celia B. Ebosh, Morris E. Adelstein, Simon Apple, Lauren Averill, Donna Brager Zimmer, Florence Braun, Sydney Brooks, Eleanor Buckstein, Sadie Bogdanowitz, Martin David Capro, Maxine K. Cohan, Leonard B. Cohan, Louis Cohn, Adrian Crone, Michael David Crone, Bert F. Crown, William Drexler, Sanford Ehrlich, Sigmund G. Elb, Samuel Friedman, Benjamin Freeman, Adolph Gass, Milton Glazer, Minnie Golder, William F. Gross, Irving Hoffman, Bertha Camlet, Minnie Kizenska, Rosalie Golan Kobe, Anna Cohn, Juliet Quartz, Frida S. Krieger, Ben Krim, Sharon Lasky, Joseph B. Levy, Leonard A. Lewis, M.D., Dora Meyer, Lizzie Nelson, Robert Pellish, Florence Pepper, Doris Pizer, Carol Plotkin, Ida J. Reichart, Morris Rifkin, Dr. Milton L. Robbins, Eleanor S. Robbins, Lena Zinnick Robinson, Abe Rosenberg, Barney Rudd, Henry Schoen, Rose L. Siegel, Esther Seligson, Sylvia Sheroff, Florence G. Siegel, Henrietta C. Simon, Ann M. Simon, Julia Kaichen Simpson, Leonard A. Solomon, Rose Marie Spiegelman, Morris Spishikoff, Eugene Staskin, Sadie Stein, Betty Esther Stein, David Sussman, Dr. H. Melvin Talpers, Harry Tarkoff, Bessie Tatarsky, David Todorovsky, Tilly Tuft, Herman Vorenberg, Davida Anna Walton, Max Weicker, Esther L. Weinberg, Minnie Weinberger, E. J. Wolf, Joseph Zinn, and Arthur Gus Zahn. And we add 10 more names from the city of Colleen for whom this chapel is dedicated that perished in the Holocaust. Kamil Smirka, Marta Smirkova, Milan Smirka, Berta Smirkova, Milan Smiroka, Ella Spindlerova, Josefa Spirova, Berta Spitzerova, Yosef Sulhoff, and Lubomir Sulhoff. And as we know, it is not just those who have left us that we honor when we say their names, but also those who are left behind. We take a moment to recognize you in your pain. And so we invite anyone who is here honoring the loss of a loved one in the last 30 days to rise as you are able. And if you have lost someone in the last year, I invite you to rise as you can. If this Shabbat marks the Yortzeit or the anniversary of the passing of a loved one, I invite you to rise as you are able. And now we all rise in solidarity with you and for all those that we are missing on this Shabbat evening, and we join together in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgarash shemei Rabba, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach leolam uleamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha brichu. Le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say, Amen.
And let us say, and let us say, Amen. And let us say, and let us say, Amen. And let us say, and let us say, Amen. And let us say, and let us say, Amen.
The briefest of announcements before we conclude. Shabbat continues tomorrow. 9:30 on Zoom with me for Torah study, 11 o'clock with us right here for community service. Shabbat will also be in here next week. Same thing, except for replace Steve Brodsky with Cantor Sax, and we're on the whole weekend because we are having a lovely holiday winter break Festivus observance here at Temple. And everything else, you know where to find it. Let's say Kiddush and Motzi, because I think these people have to get to their Chinese food.
I think so.
Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
We're done.
It was a good week.
I get sad there's not a B'nai Mitzvah kid here to drink it instead of me.
That's right.
And we'll say Hamotzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
The poppy seeds are new.
They are.
Yeah.
Those are interesting little challah rolls. Okay. We're going to end tonight with a prayer for peace. This is a time of year when everyone thinks about peace on earth, goodwill towards each other. And it's up to all of us, regardless of our faith tradition, to bring peace and kindness and love and goodness into the world in these dark days. So let's sing. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu.
Yehi ratzon milfanecha. May it be your will, God, that these last 7 days of 2021 be days of reflection and looking forward. Allow us the strength to look back and see what needs changing so that we can move forward and change it. Ehyeh asher ehyeh. We will all be what we decide to be. So let's be something good. And we ask your blessing, God, tatzidenu l'shalom. As we walk forward, let our steps be steps of peace. Tadrichenu l'shalom. May our paths be paths of peace. And we all say together, Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.